The ability to speak with confidence and present for impact is easily the most valuable skill you can have in today's world. When you can share your knowledge, you can facilitate change, and when you can facilitate change, well, you can change the world one conversation at a time. But most people think they can't speak articulately, confidently, or with impact. They get choked up by nerves, they lose their words, or that dreaded imposter syndrome shuts them down. Well, I'm happy to say that speaking is a skill that anyone can learn. Yes, even you. And that's exactly what this podcast is all about. My name is Kat Matson, and welcome to Speaking with Confidence. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Speaking with Confidence with Kat Matson. Yes, it's me. Hello, how are you? How is your day going? I hope you're having an awesome, brilliant, gorgeous, and magical day. Today's episode is a little bit different. I'm sharing with you a recent live webinar that I did as part of the Speaking with Impact workshop series. The episode or the workshop that I'm about to share with you is workshop 1 of a 3-part workshop series called Speaking with Impact. And the reason I'm sharing this particular workshop with you is because the framework that I teach in this workshop, the LilyPad framework, people tell me it is a game changer. Now, I feel like I say this a lot on this podcast. I feel like I say that this framework is a game changer. But at the end of this workshop, I had a woman disappear. You know, she went off and did her day for about half an hour, and she came back and said, "Oh my goodness, Kat, I just used the LilyPad framework with a new client and it was amazing." So I want to share it with you. I want to share with you this very powerful framework. Now, as I said, this particular episode, this recording that I'm about to share with you, is the recording of a live interactive webinar. While the only voice you will hear is mine, please note that I was talking to people in the chat. So, you know, that's why it's a little bit more conversational. It's a little bit different to my normal podcast recordings. However, the juice is so rich that I had to share it with you. I had to share it with you. If at the end you're thinking, oh, I want the other 2 workshops, then just click on the link in the show notes. Yes, wherever you're listening, click on the link in the show notes and you will be able to access day 2 and day 3 of the recordings, plus some of the bonus content that I offered throughout that workshop. So sit back, enjoy. Press 1.5 speed if that's your modus operandi. I received some lovely feedback the other day saying that even when you listen to me at high speed, I don't sound like a chipmunk. So do your thing, sit back and enjoy, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Head over to the Speaking with Confidence Facebook group. That's Speaking with Confidence with Kat Matson on Facebook, and let me know what you think. I look forward to seeing you again really soon, and enjoy this very special episode of Speaking with Confidence. And say welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the February Speaking with Impact workshop series. It's awesome to see so many people here. In fact, so many people here that I have 4 screens that I, of course, can't see. I can see people eating their lunch. Love it. Thank you. That is exactly what this session is about. It is a lunch and learn. Monica's upside down, which is very impressive. I love that. I always wondered how to get the upside down smiley emojis, but how to get an upside down Zoom, that's impressive. Well done. That's awesome. So over the course of the next 29 and a half minutes, I am going to share some of my top tips for moving from nervous Nikki, worried Whitney, rambling Riley, all of them into confident Charlie. You can rest assured there are probably no more slides because that's not my style. I much prefer to just have a chat with you. And in fact, over the next 3 days, I'm going to share my top tips for speaking in all environments with confidence, with authority, and with impact. You're welcome, Kim, for the permission to eat your lunch. We have to eat. It's really important. Like food and sleep are not as overrated as as I used to think they were. Anyway, that's another conversation for another time and another place. Before I get into the housekeeping, and I know a whole lot of you have just replied, but I want to know, just using the reaction button this time, using the reaction button down the bottom, so next to the raise hand, that little emoji button, use your reaction button to tell me how keen are you? How keen are you to improve your speaking abilities? Like, are you medium excited? Yeah, Linda's got a heart. Are you medium excited? Are you big excited? Are you like, yeah, but I could never? Hey, Ash, lovely to see you. Just use the emoji, the reaction button. I call it emojis because I'm pretty hooked on emojis. Yeah, awesome. We've got some raised hands. Fantastic. And now tell me in the chat, what would it mean to you? Oh, I love it, Norma. You found the dancing reaction. Love it. Tell me in the chat, what would become possible for you? What would become possible for you if you could move from wherever you are now into Confident Charlie? Whatever that looks like for you. Now, it doesn't need to be a Martin Luther King or a Obama or a Hillary Clinton stage person, but what would it mean to you? What would become possible for you if you could move into Confident Charlie? Gillian says to be able to say yes to speaking invites. Oh my gosh, they're going so fast. Linda says more powerful conversations. Danielle says continue to build my personal brand. There was Leah says better job interviews. Yeah, hell yes to the yes on that one. Better job interviews. To be heard in meetings and to not be spoken over. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, yes. Danielle says to save time on the time that I currently spend worrying what I'm going to say. I know. I so hear you on that. I so hear you on that. Now, for those who have still got hands up, if you could pop them down for me, just so I don't feel like there is a question waiting. And if you do have a question, pop it into the chat with a big Q in front of it, just a big Q. So as we're scrolling through that chat, Talia and I can see it. Keep popping those comments in. I want to see what would become possible for you if you could move into Confident Charlie. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me in a second, but before I do, I want to just move into a bit of housekeeping. So, first of all, big picture over the next 3 days. Today, I'm going to talk with you around how to move out of that rambling Riley and that data dumping Danny. You know, that tendency to either lose all of our words or to drown our audience in all of the things, to overthink what we're going to say. That's my goal for today. Tomorrow, oh, Norma, nothing would stop me if I could move into Confident Charlie. Right. Well, let's get on it then, shall we? Let's make that happen this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to share with you it's now, I call it infamous, but I'm guessing that my participants and my clients would call it famous, Earn the Right framework, which absolutely has you move past that nervous Nikki and that worried Whitney phase. Thursday, it's potluck. I'll be honest, Thursday is potluck. I'm not exactly sure where Thursday is going to go yet because I'm responding to what's happening here today and tomorrow. This isn't a predetermined journey, so Thursday has been deliberately left open. And then on Thursday at the end, I'm going to let you know how you can work more with me if you want to. I want to say that again. On Thursday at the end, I'm going to let you know how you can work more with me if you want to. Now, the reason I'm letting you know that now is because all 3 sessions are value packed. There is not a single sales pitch in any one of these 3 sessions. If you're interested in working with me more, then I'm going to have another session on Friday that you can join if you're keen. But the next 3 sessions are just juice packed, value packed, fun packed. Coaching. Some of you would have seen, and not everybody, because not everybody sees all of the detail that gets sent out, but some of you would have seen that when you show up live, you go in the draw, you get the chance to win a free coaching session with me. Let me explain how that works. It's a 15-minute face-to-face like this session where I
pull apart something with you to do with your speaking. Most people who win these sessions use these as an opportunity to say, this is my natural style. This is what I get stuck on. Help me. We record it and then it gets put into the Speaking with Confidence Facebook group, as well as put on the replay page for all of these calls. If you're happy with those conditions, and it needs to happen within the next 4 days or so, just because of my schedule. If you're happy with all of those conditions, then all you need to do is pop into the chat publicly, not directly to me, publicly, just say coaching. Coaching. You can say it as many times as you like. Coaching. And Talia is going to keep an eye on the chat throughout the session. Look at it go. Look at it go. And we will announce the recipient of that session this afternoon when we finish. A quick little note on why I record those sessions. I'm a massive fan of working out loud. Massive fan of working out loud. And in fact, one of the key pieces of the Impactful Presenters program is the Impactful Power Calls, where people get coaching sessions and we all learn from what everybody's been coached on. In fact, there's quite a few alumni in this call today, and they will attest to the fact that just watching other people get coaching is really, really powerful. So that's why I record the calls. That's why they go up onto the replay page. And that's why they go into the Facebook group. Speaking of the Facebook group, if you haven't already joined, please do so. Talia will pop the link into the chat momentarily. It's the Speaking with Confidence Facebook group, Speaking with Confidence, because that's the same name as my podcast. Other housekeeping pieces, use the reactions, use the chat, use all of those things to ask me questions. I won't be opening up mics today because there's just too many people on the call and that just becomes disastrous and it takes too long. So just use the chat to ask questions. Remember to put a Q in front. Your view options, I'm hoping now that everyone is, now I'm going to get all the notifications of people joining the Facebook group. Let me just put my notifications on Do Not Disturb so that doesn't become an issue. Change your view options as you want in this Zoom screen. I'm currently looking at everybody that I can see. If you want to profile me or highlight me or put speaker view on, go for it. Otherwise, you might like to see the other people's reactions. Totally up to you. And my final thing on the housekeeping before we get stuck into today's content is a note about different learning styles. Now, Rambling Riley and Data Dumping Danny, they're generally think out louders. They're think out louders. And if you're a think out louder, hands up, I am a think out louder. One of the things that works really well for us when we're learning is to think out loud via the chat. So even if you don't have a question, but if you're relating to something, if you're sitting there going, "Oh yeah, that's awesome. Oh yeah, that's so me. Oh yes, that's me." Pop it into the chat. Pop it into the chat. Can't guarantee that I'm going to respond to it, but just the process of engaging like that might help you learn. So I'm perfectly fine for you to do that. If you're having tech issues, please send a direct note to Talia. If you just type in Talia, T-A-H, you will find her and she will do her best to help. My other tip, though, if you're having tech support challenges, is to just exit and come back in using the link that you have been sent. All right, that is housekeeping. 10 minutes down, 20 minutes to go. How much juice can I offer you in 20 minutes? Oh, Brett, I didn't see you there. Lovely to see you, Brett. All righty. Who am I? Why should you care? Why are you here? Why are you here and why are you listening to me in a lunch and learn when you could be doing, I don't know, 1,000 other things? Well, I've been running this business now, Impactful Presenters, for the last 3.5 years. I started it as a side business. I started it as a side business that has become an accidental full-time business. And the reason I started it was because I was consistently being asked, Kat, can you teach me how to speak? Kat, can you teach me how to do this? And I was like, oh, yeah, but everybody knows that. Oh, yeah, but everybody knows that. Oh, yeah, but everybody knows that. Turns out, no, not everybody does know that. And the reason I thought everybody knew that was because I have been standing on stages of various sizes pretty much all my life. In fact, my dad, whose birthday is today, tells the story of how he used to take me to the pub as a 3 year old and I would dance on the bar. Not a lot's changed, but that is a story for another time. As I established my own small business, as I moved around networking circles, I was always quite fine with those introductions. I was always quite fine with taking up a speaking opportunity, partially because I had been privy to some extraordinary facilitators and speakers and was able to sit in their training sessions and in their debrief sessions. But what was really interesting was about 10 years ago, I landed the job of a lifetime, absolute job of the lifetime, where I was Brisbane's chief digital officer. It had nothing to do with digital and everything to do with encouraging small businesses in particular to understand how they could use tech and the web and social media. It's when Facebook was actually only 10 years old, to promote their business. And nice old Jen Barlow. That was bizarre. I was going to say, how does anybody know my dad's surname? And Genevieve Barlow does because she's an old family friend. I love how small the universe is. And so when I got this job, I was also like, I was doing all of the stage work, no problem at all, but I was also needing to inform policy. I was working in the public sector for the first time in my life. I'd always been in small business. And me saying, I think we should do this because it's a good idea, turns out it's not a good enough reason. It's not a good enough reason. Probably just as well because it's ratepayer money who backs those kind of things. But what I was finding was I was bashing my head against a brick wall. I was constantly being spoken over in meetings. I was rambling. I was data dumping. Oh my goodness, I was data dumping because I thought, well, if I just give you another argument, if I just give you another case, if I just tell you about another city that's doing some really cool stuff, then you'll believe me, then you'll do it. And it wasn't working. It wasn't working. So I went back to basics. I went back to first principles of, okay, as a facilitator on a stage, what is it that I do? And now how do I apply that into my professional life? And so that's why I started this business, because if I was experiencing those challenges, then so do a lot of other people. And at the end of the day, one of what I got really excited about working in the public sector for was the opportunity to make change at scale. Like you could create impact at scale. It was bigger. I had bigger audiences, bigger opportunities than I did when I was running my own small business. But if you're being spoken over in meetings, if you can't get your ideas heard, even if you're smart, intelligent, well researched, well informed, if you can't get those ideas out, then it actually doesn't matter. And we need more diverse voices. We need more diverse voices at the proverbial decision making table. And if I can share some skills that allow you to be one of those diverse voices at whatever decision making table you want to be at, then hey presto, I'm a happy camper. So that's why I do what I do. So with that, what was the mistake that I was making that I now see so many other speakers make? The mistake that I was making when I was bashing my head against the brick wall when it comes to policy change was that I was prioritizing content over outcome. Mistake number one, I was prioritizing content over outcome. Now, what do I mean? I mean, all of the things that I thought was important. I was collecting all of the data, all of the research, all of the evidence. And then as soon as I'd have the opportunity, what would I do? Vomit it. Verbal diarrhea, complete overwhelm for my poor, my poor unsuspecting CEO, who, a little bit similar to the Lord Mayor at the time, would basically say, Kat, I have no idea what you do. I have no idea what you do. I have no idea what you're talking about. Please write me another briefing note because I don't understand. So I want to share with you my top framework today to stop prioritizing content over outcome. And it's my lily pad framework. And I'm going to get a little slide ready. My lily pad framework. So I want you to imagine that you are standing on this side of a beautiful pond. It's a gorgeous pond. It's not filled with algae and all of that kind of stuff. It's just a gorgeous pond. And it's covered in lily pads. You know, those beautiful green lily pads. There's a couple of lily flowers, which just adds to the picturesqueness of it. And you're standing on this side of it with your listener, with your audience, whoever that might be. And you want to take them over to the other side of the pond because on the other side is where you want them to be. It's what on the other side is a change, a big change or a little change. So ask yourself on the other side of this pond, what is it that I want my listener to think, to feel, to do differently? What is it that I want them to think, to feel, or to do differently? And then when you step back onto this side of the pond, you ask yourself, well, what are they doing now? What are they thinking, feeling, or doing now? What I was doing when I was sitting in that spectacular role of CDO for the city was I was assuming that everybody understood what was on the other side of that pond. And everybody understood what I was talking about when I said, we need to go over there. But they didn't. They didn't because they didn't have my knowledge, my expertise. They hadn't done all the research. They didn't have my specialist knowledge. Use the reactions button. Who here has specialist knowledge in a something? Like you've invested time, you've got experience. Who's got specialist knowledge in a something? Yeah. And this is the thing, right? We have specialist knowledge so other people don't need it. People come to us so they don't need what's in our head. And so when we're standing on this side of the pond, we need to ask ourselves, where are they now? And then the question is, what are 3 lily pads? Only 3. Only 3. What are 3 lily pads or 3 key messages that will take them to where I want them to be? Now, it's normally at this point when I have a Mike's Open event or an in real life event where people go, oh, I'm trying to take them too far. And that's exactly the point. When we're standing on this side of the pond, and if we're trying to take our listener too far for them, then they're standing here going, well, I can't go there. I'm going to get my feet wet. Like I don't even understand what you're talking about in terms of what the next lily pad is. Like what I don't understand. Why would I walk out onto these lily pads with you if I don't understand what the first one is? So the lily pad framework builds on Stephen Covey's second habit from the 7 habits of highly effective people, which is begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. And remember, I started this little piece by saying the mistake that we make is we prioritize our content over the outcome. The end in mind is the outcome. It is not our content. Because I'm going to bet my bottom dollar that 9 times out of 10, your audience cares way less about your content than you think they do. They want to know that you know. They want to know that you can back up your assertions, your opinions, your recommendations, your advice. But they don't need all of the detail of how you got there most of the time. And if they do, they'll ask. But when we go in defensive, ready to argue our point, ready to prove ourselves, and we therefore lean on all of the content to prove how smart we are, we lean on all of the content to prove that we know, then all we do is we overwhelm. All we do is we overwhelm. So begin with the end in mind. Beginning with the end in mind will help those rambling Rileys not ramble because you can actually go, okay, where am I going? And so instead of talking about all of the things, you can go, okay, there's 3 things. There's 3 lily pads. There's 3 key messages that I can just go bang, bang, bang. It'll help our data dumping Dannies. You can have all of that data sitting behind you. You can pull that out when you need it, but you don't need to use it in your opening presentation. And the lily pad framework and beginning with the end in mind and those 3 key messages will also help our tongue-tied tailors because you can actually sit back and say, where do I want to take my listener? Where do I want to go? And what are the 3 key messages? Just a reminder that if you would like a free coaching session, pop that into the chat. Also, feel free to pop into the chat any other ahas or oh, yes. Or maybe even how you're going to use the LilyPad framework and this idea of 3 key messages into, I don't know, your very next meeting. Your very next meeting. I delivered a session like this last week for a group of virtual assistants who do all sorts of different specialist work. And one of the event managers who was on the call messaged me less than an hour after I'd finished and said, oh my goodness, I just used the LilyPad framework with a potential client meeting and it worked brilliantly. And I'm like, you used it already? She said, yeah. I said, what was different? And she said, I didn't dump all of the stuff. I just got present to where I wanted to take them and just gave them those 3 things. So the key to not overwhelming your audience is to recognize that your conversation, your presentation, your pitch, your argument, whatever it is a journey. And you're trying to take your audience or your listener from where they are now on this side of the pond to the other side of the pond by just stepping them across a couple of lily pads. And sometimes what you might need to do is actually recognize that you can't take them that far in this conversation. And you actually need to pull back your expectations because there's always going to be another conversation. There will always be another conversation. So I'm just going to pull up my chat again because I've lost it. So try it. Try it. Try the lily pad in your very next meeting, pitch, conversation, email, briefing note. Use the reactions button. Is anybody here in the public sector and needs to write briefing notes on a regular basis? I'm sorry if that's the case, but is that true for anyone? Briefing notes are a special kind of hell. Briefing notes are a special kind of hell, particularly in local government when you're preparing a briefing note that needs to be recorded for obvious reasons. Yeah, Christy's putting a thumbs up. They are a special kind of hell because you actually can't explain yourself and you have to fit yourself into a really awkward model that I don't know who it fits, but it doesn't fit most people. Speaking of fitting, the other thing that I just want to say as we start to wrap up for today, knowing that tomorrow is another session, one of the things that Karen, I will absolutely provide an example of the lily pad in a practical sense. So this has actually been a good demonstration where this is first workshop of many, and I don't want to overload you. I needed to tell you a whole lot of stuff about myself. I needed to give you some housekeeping. And so the lily pad is literally, how do I show you that speaking with impact is a skill that anyone can learn? And I'm literally, when I was preparing for today, I'm sitting here saying, where is my audience likely to be at? There's 400 people registered for this workshop. Where are they likely to be at? And they're likely to be sitting in this place of, I don't think I can speak. I get too nervous. I don't think I can ever do this. I think it's only for the people who have trained for years. I think it's only for the people who want to stand on stages and speak to massive audiences. But my thing is, no. Speaking is a skill that enhances everyone's professional environment. And so I'm asking myself, what's just the one lily pad that I can take you across today, hoping that you're going to come back tomorrow for the next and the next, because I'm counting on the fact that this is the first of many conversations. And so on that fitting in, one of the things that I'm very, I'm going to say hot and bothered for is everyone can speak and everyone has their own authentic style. And so the lily pad framework will work for you whether you're an introvert, an extrovert, whether you're loud and bold or whether you're quiet, whether you want to be on a stage with audiences of thousands, or whether you just want to show up in a sales conversation differently. I say on all of my websites that I work with community leaders, business owners, and leaders in organizations, particularly public servants. And people often say to me, how can you connect with all of those different types of people? I'm like, well, one, because I've got experience. That has been my life. But two, because every single one of those groups are trying to make an impact in their way. So as you come through with me over the next couple of days, what you'll find is that I'm not the least bit interested in having you sound like me, because God knows, no, we do not need any more cats in the world. I'm interested in empowering you to speak in a way that's powerful and authentic for you. Yeah, Suzanne, I like the speaking format applied to the written word. The more I've done this work, the more I realize that what I know about speaking cuts across every form of communication. It's gobsmacking. Maybe we do need more cats. Says, oh, look, I don't know. I don't know, Marion. I don't know. I'm just having a look in my chat because it's all moved too fast for Talia's little note about the winner of the coaching. We will get there in a second. Tomorrow, I'm going to share with you my tool for how to overcome imposter syndrome. How to overcome imposter syndrome at the same time without, well, let me rephrase, without the fig jam factor. The fig jam, if I'm good, just ask me. Because yeah, it's an important one. The winner of today's session, drum roll please, Norma Cooper. Norma Cooper. Yay! Norma, we will be in touch with you shortly with a link to my calendar. God help you. We will find 15 minutes in the next couple of minutes exactly. Kim, the crowd goes wild. I love that we're able to do this now in online formats, but I do miss a live audience. But then again, how would I have ever got 400 of you all in the same room? So, it's God. So yes, tomorrow when we come back and do it all again, I'm going to take you through my Earn the Right framework, which, look, I created it to teach people how to overcome their nerves at the start of a presentation. It becomes the standout piece within the Impactful Presenters program, and it absolutely is a game changer. It is a game changer. So don't miss it. In a couple of hours, you'll get a link to the replay of today's session so you can get all the goodness again, and you can even watch it on high speed. And I didn't speak too fast today, so that won't be too hard or won't be too uncomfortable. If you've enjoyed today and you know people who would benefit from this, please invite them along. Please invite them along. They won't be able to use your link. So in the replay email this afternoon, we will send out the original link that you can pass on to other people. But as you can see, the more the merrier, the more the merrier. And seriously, the more people who have the confidence to use their own voice, to speak up and to contribute in their environments, the better the world's going to be. That will literally be how we solve some of the wicked challenges that the world is up against right now. More diverse voices being heard and contributing to the decisions that matter. It is 12:29 and therefore 30 seconds and something. So I'm very proud of always starting on time and finishing on time. If you only came in right on the dot of start time, show up a little bit earlier. Tomorrow, start up at the 5 minutes too, because we had a bit of fun before I started recording. Just saying. Awesome Sauce. If you've got questions, if you want more information, head over to the Speaking with Confidence group on Facebook. I will be answering questions all afternoon there because that's what I do. And have a spectacular, gorgeous, terrific, tantalizing, I can't think of another T word, tantalizing Tuesday. Terrific, tantalizing, yeah, tasty. Nice, Rosie, nice. You're welcome, everyone. I will see you tomorrow and I'll see you in the group. Bye.